All right, in this video, we're going to talk about adding a seller into your system. Why would you want to do so? Because once you add a seller into the system, all the other agents in the system will be able to view your listing and contact you if they have a client that might be interested in it. Why have we developed the system? Because quite frankly, there's a lot of times that sellers, they don't want to be on MLS. They're not ready to be on MLS. They're working on their house. They don't want to, a bunch of people in the community to see how their parents lived, if it's an inherited house. Maybe they don't want to show it to everybody that they know isn't going to be the buyer for the property because it's a cash as is sale. Maybe they're looking for another home and they are scared to put their house on the market, but if they found a match, they would certainly sell and move. There's many reasons why a system like this was needed for real estate. And this allows you a whole other avenue for trying to sell properties and help sellers with their situations that may be a better fit than MLS, or might be a precursor to MLS before it hits MLS. As always, it's your job as a real estate agent to handle everything that you do in an ethical and professional manner and to follow all MLS rules. So this is not an end around for MLS rules. If it requires you per your local MLS and board to put listings that are under a contract in MLS, then you should do so. But when we built the system, I kept thinking to myself, you know, there's conversations we have every day where we say, hey, I've got somebody that's looking to sell, but you know, they don't want to list right now. They're not ready, but they would sell it if I found them a buyer. We don't have a contract. We just know of them. And we also have buyers that we know would buy that maybe not under contract also, or maybe they are under contract that are just looking for an opportunity that's not in the market right now. So we're basically saying we know people and you know people, let's try to connect them together. This is a system that basically replaces the human-to-human contact that we make as real estate agents every day, that we would have to be basically talking to every agent till we're blue in the face to try to find a match. This helps make that match. So I want to walk through how to add a seller so that you can put it in the system and potentially make matches with other agents and maybe sell a few more properties this year. All right, so when we're entering a seller, we obviously want to put in the status. If it's a private sale, coming soon, taking a break, listed under agreement, showing for backup and sold. These are the basic categories we created as a start. As we grow, if we need more categories, certainly let us know. I think we've got a good starting basis at least. So let's say this is a private sale. They're just, you know, they want to dispose of the property. They don't want to sell it through, let's say, Zillow offers, and which may provide them with a really low offer, but they want something in between. They don't want the whole world to see the property. It's a private sale. We're going to enter the seller's information in there, and you will be the only one that sees this. This will just help you reference when some other agent contacts you who that seller was that you entered in the system. If you're not uncomfortable with that, you can see that it's not required. It's totally up to you. You just have to know that if someone contacts you about the property and you don't have their name in there, you just have to try to figure out what it is. The address is also something you need to add in there. Town is a definite requirement. Address will not be a required field when you log into the system. Enter in the zip code, the client type. Now you can select multiple with any of these. This person's a move up, need to sell, or actually because this was an as-is sale, we're going to say, don't care, just sell it. There's many categories in there. You can add more than one if you need to. Time frame. You know, put in a time frame there. If you know what the time frame is, if they really need to go right now, then maybe it's 30 to 60 days. List price. This would be if you have a contract with the seller. Obviously, if you don't have a contract with the seller, you and the seller have not agreed on a list price, so you should not put a list price in there. Price range is $220,000. Now, let's say you did have a contract for this private sale and it was for $230,000. We want to enter that in there as the contracted price, but we also still, as you see, this is a required field for the price range. Either way, we want to add the price range in there because it'll help with the searches and search filters later. Living area. Obviously, we don't want to put the exact. The reason some of these are ranges and not exacts is we don't want to give, I guess, other people and eventually clients who may be on the system on a later future release to be able to figure out who the seller might be. If you give a range, it would be pretty hard to figure out in town who is that seller that's thinking about selling. So for some of these things, we want to try to keep the privacy of the information that you have in your head private to you so that nobody else can figure it out. Beds, obviously we want to enter the beds, the baths, type of dwelling, single family detached, etc. This is a Cape. Condition is poor. Age, again, it's a range because we don't want people to try to investigate and figure out, you know, which house that is in the neighborhood. Garages, parking space, heat and cooling, if you know. Obviously, if you don't know, many of these fields aren't required because you may not know. You may not have investigated the property enough, but a seller called you and said, you know what, we're thinking about selling. If you could bring us a buyer, we'd be happy to pay you a commission. You could use the system to try to make a match. Utilities, obviously, if you know what's going on over there, again, you can, private sewer, Title V complete. You can add multiples. Features, we have some features in here. Again, as things grow and as the system grows, we're going to add more and more features and different things in here. We've tried to come up with as complete a list as we can without having it be as complicated as an MLS entry. This is meant to basically give enough information to find somebody who's interested that you can talk to. Again, it's about finding the agent out there who might have a match that you can talk to instead of shouting to the world, hey, who's the agent out there that has a match? This helps you make matches. It's not meant to be an MLS entry. And if they're buying a house also, then you could put in the towns that they're interested in, especially if they're, let's say, downsizing. That would be helpful to whoever's viewing. You could make a swap. I mean, there's a possibility that maybe someone wants to downsize, your buyer wants to upsize, and you could literally make a match if everything matched up right. So it's important to enter as much detail as possible that you do know. Description, you maybe have a specific, you know, seller wants to sell as is with all stuff in place, basically all trash and all belongings that they leave there. Seller wants to sell as is, including all personal property. Yeah, means the buyer's gonna have to trash it out. Sneak pick, if you had a pick and you wanted to share it, you could. I mean, obviously, you know, that's up to you. I think if you're pretty secure in the fact that the seller is not going to do an end around, or even if an agent tried to find that property and call them, that they would still go with you. If you feel comfortable, sneak peeks always help. It's not required. Cooperating compensation. You enter this in only if you have a signed agreement with a cooperating compensation. If you don't put it in there. Who the agent is. I know you're logged in and you're thinking, well, I'm the logged in agent. Why would I have to enter my information in again? Well, this is because it's going to help with the search parameters later, as well as, for instance, searching for the property under whose company, because we can do intercompany searches as well, which helps, you know, identify opportunities within your office. So you want to put the company name in there again, even though you've already created that stuff in your account. This entry point helps you with the process of breaking down searches later. All right, we're done. We're going to submit that, and we're good to go. And watch the next video for entering buyers.